Greta's Gaza boat attack. Family boat carrying Greta Thunberg to Gaza hit in suspected drone strike off North Africa. In a startling development, the Global Sumud Flotilla, a maritime convoy of around 20 civilian vessels from 44 nations, sustained a suspected drone strike in Tunisian waters of the family boat, which carries steering committee members, including climate activist Greta Thunberg. Now let's dig into this story together on the AI podcast.
Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're jumping straight into something really significant happening right now, actually. It mixes humanitarian aid, big name activism, and, well, some very real geopolitical heat.
Yeah, it's quite a convergence.
We've got a stack of sources here detailing a specific humanitarian mission, a very well-known activist involved, and then this deeply concerning report of a drone strike.
Right.
So our job today is to sift through these reports, unpack the context, and really try to explore the implications of what happened.
And what really jumps out from the material is how you see these different forces, the aid groups, the activists, state power, all colliding in this one maritime incident.
Exactly. An aid flotilla heading for Gaza.
We'll look at the people involved, the incident itself, obviously, and the broader humanitarian crisis that's driving all this, sticking strictly to our sources, eyewitness stuff, official statements, the background info we have.
Okay, so let's start with the mission itself. The Global Sumud Flotilla. What was it trying to do?
Well, the sources describe it pretty clearly.
They call it the largest ever maritime effort to break Israel's naval blockade of Gaza. That alone is quite something.
Huge scale.
Yeah, around 20 boats. And they're carrying essentials, food, water, and medicine.
Right, the basics.
The stated goal, to establish a humanitarian sea corridor and get that aid directly to Palestinians.
Which bypasses the usual heavily restricted routes.
It's a massive operation. About 350 volunteers, sources say, from 44 different countries.
Wow. Truly international, then.
And the name that really brought it into the spotlight, Greta Thunberg, the 22-year-old Swedish climate activist. She was on board for the Barcelona to Gaza leg.
And her presence, you have to assume, was intended to draw maximum global attention.
No doubt. But what's the humanitarian backdrop here? Why this massive effort now?
Well, that's a crucial context. The sources point to just how dire things are in Gaza.
Yeah.
You've got UN food experts warning that 500,000 people in Gaza are facing catastrophic hunger.
Catastrophic hunger.
And they say famine is already gripping the north. Plus, this is happening while Israel's offensive on Gaza City has intensified, making aid delivery even harder.
So the flotilla sees itself as directly responding to these urgent warnings.
Exactly. Trying to, punch a hole through the restrictions to get aid to people in desperate need. The term naval blockade itself is, well, it's a tool of conflict, controlling supplies. Its legality, especially concerning civilians, is always heavily debated.
Okay, so you've got this large, high-profile convoy setting out with this urgent goal, and then things take a very sharp turn. Reports surface overnight about a suspected drone strike.
On one specific boat.
Yes, the family boat, sailing under a Portuguese flag. And crucially, it was carrying members of the flotilla's steering committee, including Greta Thunberg.
Right, so key personnel plus the most high-profile participant.
The location reported Tunisian waters.
Tunisian waters. Okay, that's important. Not high seas, not contested waters near Gaza yet.
We actually have an eyewitness account. An activist, Yasamina Carr, posted a video on Instagram right after it happened. It sounds pretty dramatic.
What does she say?
I'm quoting. "The family boat has been officially attacked. A drone came right above it, released a bomb, and it exploded. The boat caught fire."
Wow.
A bomb, that's the claim. She continues, "Everyone on board is okay, and the fire is out." So thankfully, the outcome reported is minor damage, but no casualties.
Okay. Everyone's safe, but still. A reported drone strike on a civilian vessel carrying aid workers and activists in another country's waters.
What are the immediate red flags there, legally or security-wise?
Well, huge red flags. I mean, first, the immediate danger is obvious, but the location, Tunisian waters, is critical. International maritime law is complex, but an attack by a suspected state actor on a civilian ship in another sovereign nation's territorial waters, that raises massive questions about the sovereignty, about accountability, about the rules of engagement.
And the fact it's a drone, possibly.
That adds another layer. Drones can offer deniability, right? The suspected nature, the location. It's a recipe for international legal wrangling and diplomatic fallout. It feels like a potential major escalation compared to past incidents.
And speaking of past incidents, our sources suggest this wasn't entirely out of the blue. There was a buildup.
Okay.
Activists reported growing drone surveillance in the days just before the strike. They mentioned multiple drones shadowing their boats.
Shadowing them where?
This was as they passed about 90 nautical miles from the Spanish island of Minorca, so well before they reached Tunisian waters.
Right, so they felt they were being watched closely.
Yeah, Yasmina Carr, the same activist, noted it. She said, "We have detected the first drones. Every boat in the flotilla has a drone above it. We are watching them closely." They were trying to figure out whose drones they were and why.
A constant presence overhead there.
And for Greta Thunberg, this isn't even her first run-in at sea trying to reach Gaza.
Ah, okay. I recall something about that.
Back in June, she was actually detained by Israeli forces. Her previous boat, the Madeleine, was stopped.
Right.
And at that time, activists accused Israel of using drones too, but differently, to spray some unidentified white liquid that caused eye irritation before they boarded.
Okay, so a previous incident involving drones, alleged non-lethal tactics, and detention.
Exactly. Thunberg was deported, but apparently vowed to continue efforts. Her being on this flotilla now, it definitely signals, renewed determination.
So if you look at that pattern, detention, alleged sprays, and now a reported strike causing a fire.
It looks like an escalation.
It certainly looks like an escalation of tactics being used against these flotillas. You go from interception and non-lethal deterrence, maybe, to something potentially much more dangerous, a qualitative jump, really. It suggests these blockade-running attempts are being viewed by someone as a more serious challenge requiring more forceful responses.
So the incident happens, the fire's out, everyone's okay. What was the immediate reaction?
From the flotilla group itself.
Yeah, the Global Sumud Flotilla, the GSF, they confirmed the suspected attack, but their statement was, well, defiant.
Not backing down.
Not at all, they said. Acts of aggression aimed at intimidating and derailing our mission will not deter us. And they added their peaceful mission continues with determination and resolve.
Okay, doubling down on the mission.
And Yasmina Carr, the eyewitness, she made some very direct accusations afterwards.
Right. What did she allege?
She called it an attack on civilians in Tunisian territory, and then added, "They bombed a boat to stop us from reaching Gaza. This is an attack against the people of Gaza because they don't want us there." Very strong words.
Pointing the finger, though maybe not naming a specific actor explicitly there. Or did she?
The quote just says they, but perhaps the most crucial detail here, according to the sources.
Let me guess. No one claimed responsibility.
Exactly. No state has claimed responsibility for the strike.
Which is often the case with drone strikes in complex situations.
But we should add, for context, Israel's known position. Our sources mention they've previously labeled flotilla volunteers as terrorists and warned they'd face arrest if they tried to breach the blockade.
Right, so there's a history of strong opposition and warnings from Israel regarding these flotillas.
Given that history and Akar's accusation, how does the lack of a claim for this specific strike play out?
Well, it's complicated, isn't it? The absence of a claim avoids immediate legal and diplomatic consequences for whoever was responsible. No smoking gun, officially.
Plausible deniability.
Could be. Or it could just be standard procedure in covert or sensitive operations. But it also leaves things ambiguous. Different observers will interpret it differently based on the context, the history, the location. It creates uncertainty.
And again, we're just relaying what the sources report, the claims, the counterclaims, the lack of official confirmation.
Absolutely. It's vital we stick to that, presenting the information available in our sources without endorsing any particular narrative where responsibility is uncertain or contested.
So, despite this attack, this reported drone strike, what happened next with the flotilla? Did they stop?
It seems not.
Remarkably, no. The GSF declared the mission will press forward, they stated. We will not be silenced or stopped. Our solidarity with Gaza is unwavering.
Wow.
And apparently the convoy is actually expected to grow. Sources say it should be joined by additional ships departing from Italy and Tunisia.
So the incident might have actually strengthened their resolve, or at least not broken it.
Seems that way. And Greta Thunberg, she's still with them, still vocal. She was seen being welcomed by cheering crowds in the Tunisian port of Sidi Bou Said after the incident.
Still committed then.
Very much so. She gave a statement condemning Israel's military campaign quite strongly. She said, "We all know why we are here. Just across the water, there's a genocide going on, a mass starvation by Israel's murder machine."
Pretty powerful language.
Extremely straight language. It shows the depth of feeling and, frankly, the polarization surrounding this entire situation. What does this resilience, this determination to push on after being apparently directly attacked tell us?
It tells us a lot, I think. It underscores just how urgent these activists perceive the humanitarian situation to be. That perceived urgency seems to outweigh the very real risks they're facing.
So it's a measure of their conviction.
Yes, and perhaps a belief that their actions, even if they don't break the blockade physically, serve a purpose in highlighting the issue and putting pressure on governments and international bodies. It raises that question, about the power and the limits of civilian protest in these incredibly tense geopolitical zones.
Right. You can almost picture the scene on that boat, the shock, the fire, and then the decision to keep going. So let's pull back for a moment as we wrap up this deep dive. We've looked at the Global Sumud Flotilla, its ambitious humanitarian goals, described as the largest effort of its type. Then the core incident, the reported drone strike on the family boat, notably carrying Greta Thunberg in Tunisian waters.
In the context of Trier surveillance and Thunberg's earlier detention.
Right. And finally, this unwavering determination to continue the mission despite that direct confrontation.
A really complex sequence of events.
So for you listening, trying to make sense of these global events, what does this incident really show us?
Well, it's a stark illustration, isn't it?
It really highlights that dangerous crossroads where humanitarian aid efforts meet international law, activism, and raw regional conflict. It shows how non-state actors are getting involved and the kind of pushback they can face.
And it's a microcosm of a much larger story activism versus state power, the debates around blockades, the very real human suffering that motivates these actions, all based on the details in our sources.
That resilience you mentioned earlier seems key.
It really is fascinating. The sheer persistence of these groups, continuing despite the escalating risks, it just hammers home how profoundly urgent they believe the situation is that they're trying to address.
Okay, a powerful point to reflect on. And that leads us to a final thought for you to consider after this deep dive. Think about this. How do incidents like this one, a reported attack, strong accusations, but no official claim of responsibility shape the future of getting humanitarian aid into contested areas?
Alongside that, what role do those immediate, raw eyewitness accounts and activist statements play in forming public understanding when the official channels are silent or ambiguous?
Lots to think about there. A complex picture and clearly a story that's still unfolding.
Okay, one question for you. Could the reported attack escalate tensions between Tunisia and Israel, given that it occurred in Tunisian waters? Don't forget to comment it. Thanks.